Let's talk about whether or not people enjoy inflicting abuse or neglect onto their children to the point where the child dies. And trigger warning. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I've been counseling men and women who have experienced abuse, as well as those who have been perpetrators of abuse and violent crimes for many years now. I have a commenter who is asking, based on my previous post about the Gabriel Hernandez case, do you think they received enjoyment from inflicting such severe abuse? So I haven't finished watching all of the documentary, so I'll say that up front. But what I will speak to, I'll speak to what I've seen as well as my experience in working with, parents who have killed their children or who have abused them or neglected them severely. I think everyone is a little bit different. Here are some of the more common themes that I have seen in parents who have done this. So number one is parents who resent their children. Like they feel like their children, like I spoke about on the last video, I've had these children, they are a burden to me. I cannot handle them. I want to live my life freely. I don't like being a mother, or I don't like being a father. I actually hate my children. So there's parents that abuse from that angle, and it's become more of like a just like, ugh, I have to deal with this and I just want to get rid of it. And it's like, it just becomes this overwhelming sort of frustration and cruelty and bitterness and resentment and just pure hatred of having children or how they feel like their children have impacted their life. You do have, number two, you do have people that kind of, that do get enjoyment out of abuse and out of abusing children by and large. However, this is not the common prototype that I usually see. You do have some that sort of get off. So I will say, put a pin in that. I'm going to come back to that. Number three, one of the dynamics that you do see, what I have also seen, is people who want to have complete power and control. So they feel like, okay, well, my child is getting out of control. I have to have control over somebody. I feel like I'm losing control in other aspects of my life. I might feel like I'm losing control in my relationship. And this child, this little person who's here with me is the only thing in my life that I have power over, because everywhere else I'm not respected, or nobody really listens to me. And so that goes back to number two. I do think when people get enjoyment, so to speak, it's more of that enjoyment of like someone is vulnerable. I have control over that. I have access to that. I have power over someone who cannot fight back, who cannot talk back, or who's not powerful enough to give me any sort of real consequence so I can do what I want. So you have that kind of scenario. So that's speaking more to that enjoyment. It's really more about that power and control and just getting any sort of weird if they're a sexual predator or things like that, they get any sort of weird. I don't even want to really call it a kink, because being a child predator is not really a kink, but any weird sort of sexual deviancy, fantasies, and things like that, that they're wanting to try and exercise without any sort of consequences. They can do that here. So it's more like, oh, I get free reign to do whatever I want to do. So there's that. And again, number four, a dynamic that I've talked to about before, um, you know, a child can be a reminder of the parent who left or it could be a reminder of the relationship that didn't work out, because a child is often a carbon copy sometimes of their parents. And so if that child is left behind, like in being raised by a single parent or being raised by a single parent plus their new partner, that child is a constant reminder of someone that they didn't get to take out their anger and frustrations on. So therefore, I'm going to take it out on that child because, number one, you look like them. Number two, I can have you as my punching bag, and you know that's going to hurt the person that left somehow. But it's also going to help me feel better because I didn't get the chance to do it to who I really wanted to do it to. So you have that. I think I'm on number 5. You have people that genuinely don't like children. So some of the men that I've worked with, they don't like children. Plain and simple, they don't like children. They've never liked children, and anything that's sort of a reminder that a child is there is likely to set them off. So, for example, if you have a baby and a baby cries, that could be a trigger for a lot of people, in that crying and that baby not being quiet. That can result in them just sort of shaking that baby to death out of the frustration, like, oh my God, will you stop crying? I cannot stand to hear a baby cry, and so I'm just going to shake it, shake it, shake it. And that's kind of how you get some of those sort of things out of frustration, out of a child being a child, but someone who has a low frustration tolerance plus a severe dislike for children, or any sort of I don't want to call it an inconvenience, but any sort of child behavior and things like that could definitely be a trigger. Number 6 or 7, it could be, parents can do this because it was something that was done to them. So they're essentially replicating severe and extreme abuse because that's what they went through. So it's like a behavior that was modeled to them. So abuse is very normal to them, even though logically they may know that it's wrong. Just behaviorally, they're just doing what they've always seen done. And so it's like a intergenerational pattern, something like that. So there is, so the next one would be my lover. I have a lover, which I've kind of talked to you guys about. If I have a new lover and my lover doesn't like children, or I'm more invested in my new lover, my new partner, my child is cramping my lifestyle and I want it to get the hell up out of here. I want to be able to enjoy that. And that sounds kind of like a little bit about like what's going on in this particular story. Like, my child is cramping my lifestyle. I want it out of here. I don't like it as a reminder of a burden. It can't just be me and my man, that kind of stuff. Number 9, I think, is what I'm on. I think sometimes parents can do this, can abuse and severely neglect their children if they have a severe mental health disorder. And also if they, they have like severe trauma. So in that particular story, the Gabriel Hernandez story, they talked a little bit about how they forced a boy to wear dresses and, basically called him gay, even though there was no evidence of that. My guess would be, even though I'm not affiliated with that case, my guess would be, I wonder about one of the parents having some severe sexual trauma or some stuff that happened that has to do with sexuality that they then projected onto their children. A lot of abuse is projection. And so, if I'm thinking something, if my thinking patterns are distorted, I'm going to project it onto someone else who cannot fight back. It just kind of escalates from there. There can also be a mixture between, a few of these. So it's not uncommon for some of these thinking patterns and dynamics to overlap. But I hope this answers your question. Thanks so much for asking.